Focus. Ideate. Innovate. Enable.
Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Making It Big. I'm your host, A.B. Ravi. All of us in our personal and professional life go through ups and downs. That is given. Yet, a majority of people crack under pressure when pushed to the wall. Result, they lose focus, they lose hope, they lose sight of their goal. And in the process, they don't make it big. But there are a few notable exceptions. They are so focused that they don't take their eye off the ball even as they pick the gauntlet. With such singularity of focus, these type of people emerge victorious. This week's story is of a man who falls in the exception category. Anil Jain was doing very well as a CEO of a well-known family-run business. But one fine morning, he paid a price for being ethical and straight. He was sacked from his job. This action by the owners shocked him, surprised him, and also made him furious. But what stumped him completely was that 19 of his colleagues also walked out of the company without any provocation or instigation by Anil Jain. This forced him not to pick another job but start his own business. Thus was born Time Technoplast in 1992. This company is India's leading manufacturer of polymer products. They make jerry cans, polymer containers, composite LPG cylinders, and automotive components, to name a few. In 2 decades, this company has grown 1,000 times, from 2.5 crore rupees in 1992 to 2,500 crore rupees today. Take a look at Time Technoplast story. It may inspire you to start your own business.
He is an inveterate risk taker, and that quality has paid off big time. 23 years ago, Anil Jain was an employee. Today, he owns a 2,500 crore rupee company that employs 3,250 people. Time Technoplast, his baby, is a leading manufacturer of polymer products in India with a strong presence in Bahrain, Belgium, Egypt, Indonesia, Malaysia, Poland, Romania, Singapore, Sharjah, Taiwan, Thailand, and Vietnam. The company, which operates 5 verticals, has 34 plants in India and 16 overseas. These plants are strategically located within 250-kilometer radiuses of its 600 plus customers so that they don't need to keep inventory. Time Technoplast produces HDPE drums, intermediate bulk containers, jerry cans, PE pipes, AstroTurf, foldable crates, plastic fuel tanks, refuse bins, and composite LPG cylinders. Out of this, industrial packaging comprising drums and containers is the company's bread and butter business, contributing 71% to its turnover, while the other 4 divisions, comprising infrastructure, technical and lifestyle, composite cylinders, and material handling, contribute the balance 29%. The company's success has largely been because of Anil Jain's 2-pronged strategy. First, he stuck to the core business and did not diversify. Second, he adopted the acquisition route to grow his business. Witness this. Between 2006 and 2011, Time Technoplast has done 11 acquisitions, both in India and abroad. And this strategy, coupled with big-time investment in R&D, has given the company a beachhead position in the marketplace. But what makes Time Technoplast's story unique is that Anil Jain entered this sector by compulsion, not by choice. Anil, who has a brother and sister, was born into a teacher's family in 1955 at Dehradun. At school and college, he was a topper. In the BSc, he stood first in his college and repeated this feat while doing his BE from Punjab Engineering College. It was while studying for electrical engineering that his business acumen came to the fore. Since it was proving tough to pay fees and stay at the hostel, Anil hit upon a novel idea of charging a small premium of 20 rupees and providing insurance cover to fellow students in case they failed the exams. If they failed, Anil paid their fees. Fortunately for him, only a few failed. This allowed him to keep the premium not only to pay his fees but also to own a motorcycle. In 1977, after majoring in BE, Anil Jain, by design, joined the PSU giant BHEL at a low level. 6 years later, he moved to the middle-level manager's post in Voltas in 1983. Finally, he joined a family-run business making polymer containers as CEO in 1986. But in 1991, the 36-year-old Jain got a big jolt. He was sacked by his owner for not bending the rules. Even as Jain was contemplating his next move as to how to fend for his family, he got a second jolt. 19 of his colleagues quit the job without any propagation or instigation from Anil. Now this burden of taking care of 20 families forced him to enter the polymer container business. And overnight, his business house at Magnum Tower, located at Lokhandwala in Andheri, became a makeshift office. With 9 lakh rupees in his pocket, he took a fresh guard. He was plucky as also lucky. Some hidden hand of God was helping him. He got loans easily from the banks, purchased an industrial shed, installed machineries, rented an office, tied up with a foreign partner, and got orders without any hassles. It looked like Anil was destined to do business, and he did not waste that God-sent opportunity. He did the impossible, and the results are for all to see. In 2 decades, Time Technoplast has grown 1,000 times, from 2.5 crore rupees in 1992 to 2,500 crore rupees today. Since its IPO in 2007, which was oversubscribed 55 times, the company's top line has grown at a CAGR of 26%, from 399 crore rupees in 2007 to 2,476 crore rupees in 2015. Similarly, the bottom line has grown at a CAGR of 13%, from 42 crore rupees to 113 crore rupees. The reason for customers' confidence in Time Technoplast is Jain's big investment in R&D. Besides, innovation has also helped reduce the weight of polymer drums from 10.2 kgs to 7.8 kgs with better tensile strength. This price and performance advantage has endeared customers to Time Technoplast.
See, we are into business relationship with Time for the last 5 to 7 years. And our goal is to have sustainable, affordable, and environmentally less intrusive packaging solution for our customers. Now, from that perspective, we look for a partner who has got a reach, not just geographic, but also regional, and also has got willingness to work with us in a collaborative way to bring innovative solution for our customers. And we find that in Time. And we are actually having few initiatives running with Time at this point in time, which cover the whole space of sustainability and also bringing innovative solution to our customers at Dow. So that's what actually makes us work together in a more collaborative way with Time.
Today, Time Technoplast is number 1, followed by Tenwala Plastics, acquired by Jain in 2006, and Barmer Lorry. Thanks to Jain and other players, in India, plastic drums have replaced steel drums to the tune of 55%. However, in Asia the penetration is just 6%. Sensing a huge untapped opportunity, Time Technoplast has gone all out to tap the Asian markets, and its presence is being felt. In 2007, Time entered Sharjah, and the penetration of plastic drums has increased from 3% to 25% today. Likewise, in Thailand, it has grown from 4% to 19%. Jain's strategy of acquiring plants abroad and replicating the Indian model is seeing cash registers ringing. Today, exports contribute 25% to the turnover.
We initiated our overseas venture in 2004. We went to Sharjah, UAE. That's the first venture we made. We saw a big opportunity opening up with plenty of petrochemical companies there and our packaging products being acceptable there. We therefore set up a completely greenfield project. That's the background we had with in India. And then after tasting success there, we realized that we should look at many other geographies in Asia where the growth story is. And we then looked at Thailand. There was an acquisition, followed by Taiwan, another acquisition. And then simultaneously we had set up an operations in Vietnam, in Indonesia, in Malaysia, and also in China.
Interestingly, in a true Hindi film style, Jain hired the very MD who sacked him and also bought out the assets of that company. The company is literally going places, but that has not made Anil Jain rest on his laurels. He seems even more determined to become a billion-dollar company. On that note, we need to take a short commercial break. When we come back, CNBC TV 18's A.B. Ravi talks to the eternally optimistic Anil Jain, MD and CEO of Time Technoplast, to find out what are the ingredients for success in business. Also joining us on the show is Sandeep Uppal of HSBC, giving us the banker's perspective. Stay tuned. We will be right back.
Welcome back. Academically, Anil Jain was always a topper and made it to the merit list in school and colleges. But there was a business streak in him which came to fore during his college days. I caught up with 60-year-old Anil Jain at his Mumbai office to find out how he proposed to become a billion-dollar company. This is what he has to say. Take a look. Anil, Sandeep, welcome to the show. Anil, if I may begin by asking you, at what stage in life did you realize that you were cut out for business?
Well, it's a long time ago when I was in college, actually. I think I'll just give the background that I come from a teacher's family, and I had a younger brother who was less than 1 year old, younger to me.
Okay.
And we both had to go for education. My father could have not afforded that.
Okay.
So I decided to do it on my own. And so on one of the occasions when I was in college, and we realized that in college when people don't do the paper well, they get very nervous, not so much for reappearing in the paper, but because they had to pay the examination fee of 45 rupees.
Yeah.
So we then started a insurance against failure. That would mean if you come to us within 1 hour of completing the paper and take a token from us for 20 rupees, right?
Okay.
We will pay for your fee for 45 rupees if you fail, or otherwise this 20 rupees stay with us.
That premium.
The premium, that's right.
Exam
Yes.
cover.
Premium cover. And it worked so very well, actually, that in the first year itself, I could buy myself a motorcycle, which was very expensive in those days. And then I had a few colleagues, and I can tell you honestly, some of them, as we were leaving the college, realized that they were able to earn far more from this insurance company than they would actually get it by taking a job. So they stayed put for 2 more years. So everybody turned around and said, you are not cut out for working for somebody. Perhaps one day you will be a businessman. That's what I recall.
Okay. So you knew you were not cut out for working with somebody, you were cut out for business, yet you chose to enter the corporate world. And there also there seems to be a design. You first entered a public sector giant like Bharat Heavy Electricals, then moved to a private sector Voltas, and then to a family-run business Prestige.
Yes.
From big to small. Is there a design in that? And why did you do it?
No, this is not an accident, actually. That was very well planned. And quite honestly, I do believe that the career or a life is not a 100-meter dash that you run from one place to another and you're done. It's more like a marathon. And the career, you have to really pace it out.
Okay.
I was very, very clear that when I started my career that I would start with a large public sector undertaking. The advantage is that you can learn the systems.
Okay.
You see an organization which is much bigger. And one great advantage in public sector is that if you are the guy who is working hard, everybody will dump work on you. So you in turn tend to learn. Having done that, later on, I decided that as I moved to the middle management, it'll be a good idea to go to a mid-sized company where you actually have in charge of the profitability. You see the business even more closely as a businessman. So that's when I was a manager in Voltas. And after completing my Voltas, I joined as the CEO in a family-run company. But the idea was to run the business from the top and ensure that you learn how you should actually should be doing business. Incidentally, in these three organizations, one great advantage I had was when I was with BHL and Voltas, I learned what one must do in business to be successful. And in one of other companies that I worked, I learned what one must not do in business to be successful. And I think that was the time I decided there's the time to go and start something on my own.
So one thing that I've noticed about you is you adopted the acquisition route to grow your business. I think between 2005 and 2009, you've done some 10 acquisitions.
We did.
So what is the rationale behind this acquisition? Is it technology, is it market share, or is it size?
Let me be blunt with you, actually. We were people in a hurry, right?
Okay.
We saw an opportunity in Asia. We went around. It's very clear that when you actually go into a new country, you look at the assets if they are available there. And if there are assets available, you would like to acquire those assets rather than creating a new capacity, which would mean more capacity, more competition, etc. But we were also mindful of the fact that we would not pay exorbitant price for the business. So if you look at our journey in Asia, you would find it's a mix of both. We had acquisitions and we did it at a very decent price so that they start...
Both in India and abroad?
Both in India and abroad. We bought our nearest competitor in India called Tenwala Poly Containers, which is now called TPL Plastic. We own 75% of that company, 25% is public. So we started from here, and then we went on and bought companies in Thailand, which was the market leader. We bought the market leader in Taiwan. But when it came to Malaysia, Indonesia, the guy wanted us to pay $40 million. We said, nothing doing. So we then set up a project ground up. So it was a mix of both, actually. But yes, we had set out a timeline within which we had to achieve that. And I'm very pleased to tell you that we did it without cost or time overrun.
Okay, let me get Sandeep in. Sandeep, you heard the first person account from Anil. As a banker, what are 2 or 3 things that strikes you about the company and the promoter?
Probably let me speak about the promoter first. My engagement with Anil always has been quite intensive discussions around sector and business. And what strikes me is the simplicity he brings across to his thought process and the vision for the company. And that can be seen in the way the company has grown over the last 24 years. So if you look at the company, as Anil just highlighted, it started off in India in industrial packaging. It established itself as a leader in Indian industrial manufacturing. And from there, it then ventured out across geographies, which was largely Middle East and Asia. But it didn't try and do it in the year one, but it took possibly 10, 12 years before they started doing that. Similarly, when they expanded the product range, they didn't jump in the first year or second year. They took the time to really diversify away from industrial manufacturing and then moved into, say, lifestyle, auto, and other parts of the business. And that's why, as a company, that evolution over 23 years has made this a much stronger company, because geographically, they're that much more diverse, not dependent on one country. As Anil just now said, it cuts across Asia and Middle East.
True.
At the same time, as far as products are concerned, they're not a one-sector company like industrial manufacturing, which has now come down to, you could say, around 65%, but they got other avenues to build on. So what strikes me about the company is that it's managed the journey over 2 decades really well to come to a position where it is a bit like an aircraft carrier. It can move in many directions, whether geography or product.
Okay, well put. What is the challenge of your business? Is it raw material, or is it the volatility rupees, or is it ease of doing business in India? What is it?
I think the challenge lies elsewhere. The polymers, and I'm talking about the entire product range that we have, you would find today that the product life is going to get shortened. It's not for our industry, but it's everywhere. And I think the challenge for most companies, including mine, is to continuously innovate and come up with products which could be the winners.
Okay. Do you believe in luck?
I certainly do. To come into a place where we had no one known to you and to get yourself established was is a lot of luck. And
And
I
hard
can
work.
promise you, at every step of the way, there were some people who came from somewhere and helped us doing what we were doing. Things were not easy for us, but if you wanted to do something, it eventually happened.
Okay, Anil, final question. What is the advice would you give to someone who wants to start a business today? The do's and don'ts, going by your own experience.
It is better to be a sailor on a ship in a sea rather than being a captain on a boat in a lake. So when you're choosing your business, you must really have a large canvas on which you can paint as much as you really want to, and you then don't get constrained. But the passion, the hard work, and your ability to manage change, I think these are extremely important for success.
Very well put. Anil, Sandeep, thanks for being on the show. Pleasure. Well, that was Anil Jain telling us with conviction as to how he scripted his life and business. These are the mantras he applied to build Time Technoplast. Nothing can substitute experience. Dream big. Don't be constrained by narrow vision. Diversify risk. Don't depend on one or two customers. Identify change and manage it. And finally, convert challenges into opportunities. Well, some mantras may sound cliched, but it has made Time Technoplast a force to reckon with locally and globally. Before I go, here is Anil Jain's favorite mantra. Life or career is not a 100-meter dash. It is a marathon. On that thinking note, it is time to say goodbye. See you next week with another interesting episode. Till then, keep watching CNBC TV 18.